Hey guys, hello YouTube. This is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you with another Pokemon video, and today we are looking at the 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge series, at least the Hollows anyway. The ones that I have, I'm still missing one. Right now this set is almost 20 years old, came out in October of 2000, and it is the 20th year anniversary this year, come about 9 months from now. And this one is one of my favorites, partially because you don't just have the normal Pokemon anymore. You don't just have Arcanine, don't it has have Growlithe. You don't just have any of the Gloom or Bulbasaur ones. These are the trainer ones. So anyone that had played with the in the video games back in the day or watched the show, you always knew that there were some Pokemon you couldn't get in the games. Like if you had Red, you couldn't get like Ekans or like Cubone, and if you had Blue, you couldn't get Kangaskhan or I think Scyther. And some of these Pokemon you couldn't get, but the trainers and gym leaders had. Even in the manga, all these trainers and gym leaders had these types of Pokemon, and they were great. They don't have Blaine's Mewtwo, which I'm a little pissed off at. They have Rocket's Mewtwo, which we'll see. But this one is Blaine's Arcanine. This is the the first Pokemon ever to have 120 damage attack, and it also has a I'm not sure what the original Arcanine had. I think it had 100 HP. It has a little bit less, but it's not really playable in the TCG, but it's cool as heck to have. And there's Blaine in the corner. All these hollows are of rarity. You'll see it on the star on the bottom. And it's just wicked card. One of my favorite Pokemon. Really cool. And this is Blaine's Charizard. That is one of the most badass photos ever. You can get a photo like this in Pokemon Snap in the volcano thing. You just you knock a Charmeleon into the lava pit, and then it comes out. It's a Charizard. It breathes fire, and it's really, really cool. 100 HP. So a lot of these guys have less HP than they did in the original base set, but either way, they're still cool. They're a lot stronger than the Team Rocket ones, which were, like the Dark Charizard, Dark Blastoise, which they evolve early. These guys, if I can focus it, there we go. There's a level 50. I think it's level 38 in the Rocket series. And I'm showing you these guys right now. I'm showing you them before I take them out to safety deposit box, so you can tell that these are some of my favorites, and they're worth a lot. A full Gym Challenge set is going to be worth probably, for just the hollows, is going to probably be worth around $8,500, maybe $9,000. Whereas 2 years ago, you could have bought all of these cards singular at auction, probably for about $6,000. So these increase a lot. If anyone that's looking to invest, you really can't go wrong with this set, with these cards. There's not a lot of them. There's really not a lot of these cards to go around. At least in the PSA 10 copies, you could spend a tenth of what you would spend on the PSA 10 copies by just buying a PSA 8. And really, all you would see, I mean, you wouldn't be able to on this one, but you would see on a PSA 8, you'd see some whitening in the back, maybe a scratch. Indents tend to take really hard. You might see a factory line on the holographics, but there's not too much difference. Even a 9, like this Giovanni's Machamp, it's really cool. Forearms, like me as a boxer, former boxer, I love the fact someone with 4 arms. I would love to try to fight this thing in a sparring match, of course, because I think his punches could actually decimate a mountain. So I was in a sparring match, but this one I think is only like maybe $80 for this exact card, and in PSA 9 you could probably get it for 20, 25, which is ridiculous. Giovanni's got such cool cards. I love this one. I had in Japanese as a kid, maybe like about 20 years ago, and I thought it was just one of the coolest things. It looks so badass. It looks like it's ready to just murder you. It just looks like it's ready to jab you with its horn or block punches with its arms. It looks like it's just hard. It just looks like if you punch it, you're going to hurt yourself. And finally, years later, when I got it in English, it's like, oh, that's what it can do. Again, Giovanni, One of my favorite trainers, gym leaders, really cool. But this one I love because I love Meowth and Persian in general. In the first Pokemon game, the stats were so that if you had a Pokemon with high enough speed and a high chance for a critical hit move, like Slash, you would get a critical hit every time. So if you had a Persian in Pokemon Blue, Red, or Yellow, and it knew Slash at level like 50 or 55, it was going to get a critical hit. This and Dugtrio. And Giovanni's one just looks so cool. It just looks majestic. Like, not even you'd fight with it. Just like if you were a king, this would be your royal house cat that would knock stuff off of your shelves. God, that's so cool. Pokemon Power, call the boss. So amazing. This one took me forever to find. There's a couple of them out now. I finally did it like last year, but I finally, in the games, I got a level 100 Beedrill just by grinding. But this Pokemon, I think it gets a bad reputation because it just, it's not really strong. You take it out with anything fire or bird or even ice, but it's just so cool. Like, I think just one of these you would be freaking at. People freak out with bees that are like 2 inches long. This is 3 feet long. Could you imagine seeing one of these? Weighs 65 pounds? I think you're in Australia. You would freak out. Freak out. Ditto, I always thought was interesting because you had a Pokemon that can literally turn into anything. You know, from Copycat Girl in the anime to the games to just the fan art that you get with, you see Ditto creeping over Eevee in the breeding center. These are always cool because obviously that theory that all Ditto are just failed clones of Mew, and I thought that was an amazing theory. I found that out in like basic training, and I was like, what? In like 2012, like I never read that theory before, and I was thoroughly impressed with it and thoroughly just awesome with it. This one, sometimes always gets a premium just because anything in the Pikachu line is really cool. Tennis Surge was kind of a bad person in the comic books, in the Pokemon Adventures. In the anime, he was alright. I always wanted to see, and I would pay such good money to see or even fund a version of Pokemon that took place like 20 years before Red, before Ash, and see that Pokemon War. He was a lieutenant, and me being in the military as well, I would have loved to serve with him and Pokemon in some capacity because that would just be so cool. That would just be amazing to see. I think if Netflix would do it, it'd probably get an M rating or for mature because it's war. You would see a lot of death, and you would see a lot, like, people would much rather, like, and they don't flinch at like dead people, but they see like a hurt puppy and they're like, oh my god, no. So that would be so too hardcore for children, I think. So you're noticing that this is 11 and this one is 13. Number 12 is Misty's Golduck. There only has like 45 PSA 10 copies, and it's impossible to find. I would pay over $1,000 for one right now, but they're just not available. A lot of these in PSA 10 are available. Misty's Golduck is not. Misty's Gyarados is cool. It's got like a hint of glow about it, like maybe it just freshly evolved. What level is that? No, 42. Definitely evolved a long time ago, but it looks badass. Like maybe it's ready to do a Hyper Beam. I know it doesn't have that move on the card, but you know you can teach them that in the games. Get 4 energy cards, not really playable, but it's so cool. Misty's awesome, fan favorite. So this is what I was talking about before. In the, not the anime, but in the manga, Blaine has Mewtwo, and they're attached to each other, not like physically attached, but they are linked together. It eats away at his arm. And he controls it with a spoon. But this one is really not a good card. It was really cool because it's the first card with 3 attacks on it, and that's the first one that it ever had. Everyone else just had 2, so you kind of had to. Oh shit! You kind of had to. Well, that one's gonna stay right there for right now because I can't get it out. But actually, I can show you right now. Now that it's big brain time right now. All right. Side by side, that picture is much smaller than that picture. They had to do that because of the attacks that is on there. But either way, it's still pretty badass. I like the fact that they kept Mewtwo as Rocket's Mewtwo in the Team Rocket family, instead of just it being someone else's. Rocket Zapdos is really cool too, just because this attack that I don't think it's attacking. Remember in the movie where it's exchanging electricity with Pikachu? This just looks like it's talking, communicating. Maybe Team Rocket figured out a way. Lieutenant Surge is part of Team Rocket in the manga, so maybe they figured out a way for them to communicate with each other, and it's just so badass, so majestic. I love the legendary birds. Also, a member of Team Rocket is Sabrina. Again, we're talking about in the manga, not the anime. Alakazam, I love. It's just, I think in the Pokedex it's supposed to have an IQ of like 5,000, so I don't know why it's still messing with humans. Maybe it's bored. Maybe it is like Sheldon Cooper, and it just sees like, oh, well, I don't have to use much brain power to deal with humans, so I might as well do that while I can think about the other important things. Maybe like entering other universes. I don't know. These are just the trainers. Got Blaine, who is, again, he was part of Team Rocket. He switched sides eventually after meeting Red. He's one of my favorite just because he goes incognito. He's in the anime, he has that wig, and I don't know if he takes his mustache off somehow. I don't know, but it's pretty cool being a gym leader, scientist, Team Rocket, independent researcher. He does it all. I don't know how he has time for all of that. Giovanni, Team Rocket boss. I love him in the Pokemon anime with Pokemon manga. Spoilers. Yeah, so I'll let you know when spoilers end. Spoilers is in the second and third adventure volumes, or I think whenever Yellow comes in, they know that in order to have a special connection with Pokemon, you have to be a child of Viridian Forest. And we know Yellow is a child of Viridian, and we know that Lance, the dragon trainer, is a child of Viridian. And when Lance is beaten down on Yellow, they're in the final battle, and Yellow's about to get her shit kicked in. Giovanni comes in and is like, guess who is also a child of Viridian? And I lost my heckin' shit because I thought that was one of the coolest twists ever. Okay, spoilers over. I don't know how. Link in the description. This is just the team. This should have been the Team Rocket one, because these are all gym leaders of Team Rocket. Koga, badass. His fight with Blue in the manga is one of the best Pokemon battles I've ever seen. It just hardcore stuff happens. He's a ninja. He eventually joins the Elite Four in the games, and his daughter Sonia takes over the gym, keeps it in the family. It's so cool. Sabrina, my love. Psychic power lady, can move stuff with her mind. Absolutely amazing. I love her so much. From her origin story in the anime to her character in the manga, her fight with Green is really cool, and it's just, that whole series is amazing. The first 7 volumes anyway, so good. Anyway, that's it for today. This is about to go into safety deposit box, because again, just the hollows are worth about 8 to 9 grand, not including the rest of them, and I have another full shoebox as well. So you guys have a good one. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all later.